Let's take a quick look at how Alaska schools are funded. We have 53 school districts in the state with two governance structures: rural education attendance areas and city and borough schools. In addition, we have Mount Edgecombe Boarding School. Our schools serve approximately 128,600 students. So how are schools funded? They are funded with a combination of state, local, and federal dollars. With respect to the state funding, a formula in statute, AS 1417, specifies how schools are funded. It's called a foundation formula. It's quite straightforward. You start with students, kids. They're called ADM. That's the adjustment made in October for the student count, but it's essentially think students. This is multiplied by the base student allocation. It is a sum fixed in statute. This then is adjusted for a variety of factors. The factors include school size, area cost differential, special needs and programs such as bilingual, bicultural, gifted and talented, others, intensive special ed students, vocational and technical education, correspondence programs, and a hold harmless provision in the case of enrollment declines. Now, local dollars come into the formula. You subtract the required local if you are a city and borough school district. You subtract 90% of Public Law 81-874 funds, federal revenues, if you are an REAA. This then gives you what you are entitled to under the state of Alaska's AS 1417 foundation formula. Let's go down to the local school board level now. Local school boards have additional revenue sources. If a city and borough, they may have local dollars up to a maximum under the statutes. It's called the cap. They have grants and federal revenues. In addition, 4 out of the last 5 years, the state has funded education outside of the foundation formula. These are dollars that supplement what is in the formula, sometimes specified, sometimes not, often referred to as one-time funds. Usually it's something schools have been able to rely upon to offer the programs they want to give their students. So there you have it. You have the big pots of money that go then to the school board, and it's decision time. What are some of the decisions facing the school board? Well, one of the biggest components of the school budget is people. Teachers, janitors, librarians, counselors. They make up often up to 90% of a school district's budget. Some of the drivers of that cost are health insurance for their employees and benefit packages. Fuel and utilities are also a major component, especially in areas of the state with very high energy costs. Another hot spot for school funding is PERS-TERS issue of unfunded liability. The state legislature has appropriated significant funds to cover this unfunded liability. Keep in mind, this is a past debt, it's a past obligation, and does not affect a child in a school in Alaska sitting at that school desk or at that table right now. This pays for past obligations. So there you have it. Let's go back quick. School districts are funded by state, local, and federal dollars. As outlined in statute, Alaska statutes, it starts with students, multiplied by the BSA, adjusted for a variety of factors, required local effort is taken into account, and that gets you to the biggest component of any school district budget, which is state entitlement. On top of that, the legislature has the power, and they often do, spend state funds, additional funds, to support schools outside the foundation formula. Here's a great chart, courtesy of the Alaska Department of Education, that gives you a little bit more background on school funding in Alaska. This is all about the base student allocation and its value. You can see in 2011, 12, 13, 14, it was static. In addition, the legislature made appropriations outside the formula to add value, add funds to help school districts out. In last legislative session, the legislature increased the BSA to $5,830 and provided an appropriation outside the formula to to support schools. This is the package that was adopted last session from which the cuts are now happening. But you can see that the pattern here. Schools were essentially flat funded. The legislature provided some assistance, but a lot of school districts throughout these years were making cuts. The increase in revenues were not keeping up with rising costs, inflation, health insurance premiums, etc. But this gives you at least a little picture of where we've come in terms of the base student allocation, its importance to the foundation formula, and currently where we stand. Unfortunately, with the Senate and House cuts and the governor's cuts, can't give you exactly where we're going to be, but it's not pretty. Mary Hockler reporting for Great Alaska Schools, signing off.